What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next segment of tonight's show of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Thomas, here to bring you another segment on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. The 2017, the way too early edition of the 2017 season Major League Baseball Power Rankings. Last night, in case you missed it, you missed one of the best Game 7s of all time, maybe the best. I went on record a few minutes ago saying that it's one of the best Game 7s. I don't know if it's the best Game 7. There were future Hall of Famers on the field in 2001 when it was between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the New York Yankees. Luis Gonzalez hit a blooping RBI game-winning Game 7 walk-off single to win the World Series over the three-peat champion New York Yankees. And the Arizona Diamondbacks were a very young, very new franchise in Major League Baseball. To win a World Series like that over the New York Yankees as such a young, new franchise, Curt Schilling, Randy Johnson leading the way on the rotation side of things for the D-backs, and Luis Gonzalez hitting the patented best pitch of Mariano Rivera's repertoire, the cutter, right over second base, to win that game. I think that ranks number one as far as Game 7s go. This, obviously, last night, it's a matter of opinion. I remember that game very vividly as a youngster, witnessing the D-backs win, telling my grandfather at the time, who was very sick, that the Yankees lost. And that was the one thing that kind of cheered him up at the time, that the Yankees lost that World Series to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nobody expected that. That would have been the Yankees' fourth World Series championship in a row, but the Diamondbacks spoiled their plans for 2001, and that was a fantastic Game 7 and a fantastic World Series. But I would say the Cubs and Indians is really close, and that ranks near the top. But I'd have to give the edge to the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2001. This is my way too early 2017 MLB Power Rankings. I wrote this list out over the course of my day today, and obviously at 30 I have the San Diego Padres. I'll start from 30 to 1. The Padres are a terrible team. The Rockies at 29, the Braves, the Twins, the Reds, and the White Sox. That's 30 to 25. The Padres at 30, Rockies at 29, Braves at 28, Twins at 27, Reds at 26, the White Sox at 25. At number 24, I have the Oakland A's. They've made a few curious trades over the course of the last few years. Billy Beane went all in with John Lester and Jeff Samardzija a few years back, and it hasn't paid dividends for them. Tampa Bay Rays have fallen apart since the departure of Joe Madden. Sadly, the Miami Marlins, I have them ranked at number 22. They finished 3 games under 500. Had not they had Jose Fernandez in games in which he didn't start, they would have been 10 games under 500. So Jose Fernandez, the death of Jose Fernandez, one of the worst tragedies in sports, in baseball sports history. And I think that's going to have a huge effect on the Miami Marlins heading into next season. It's sad, but true. And you have to tell it like it is in situations like that. Jose Fernandez, the death of Jose Fernandez, was a huge loss, a huge blow to the future of the Miami Marlins. Number 21, the Milwaukee Brewers. They have Juan Villar, the stolen base leader from last season. Ryan Braun has been on the trade block time and time again. And the Milwaukee Brewers are not really paying anyone much money. So heading into 2018 and 2019, I anticipate if they do not have a good season, they'll be able to rebuild very quickly, adding free agents in the 2018 and the 2019 class. At number 20, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. They are really underrated. They have a young pitching staff. Ryan Howard is off the books now, finally. The hitter, Malik Franco, great young star in the making for the Philadelphia Phillies. I anticipate them to be a little bit better, maybe even a sleeper team in the National League next season, pushing maybe for a playoff spot with the young pitching that they have. Vinny Velasquez was acquired in a trade with the Houston Astros. Big-time pitcher last year. He kind of struggled towards the back end of the season. At number 19, the team that features the best player in Major League Baseball, Mike Trout's Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Unfortunately for Mike Trout, and unfortunately for the Angels, they're wasting the best years of Mike Trout's career. They're not really building anyone around Mike Trout. Albert Pujols is reaching the end, and I don't think it's going to get any better for the LA Angels of Anaheim. The rotation, for the lack of a better word, is a mess. I don't anticipate them to do much of anything next season. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they have new management running the organization. Paul Goldschmidt is one of the best pure hitters in the National League and in Major League Baseball. Their pitching, Zach Greinke, was kind of a disappointment last year, but I anticipate him to bounce back. I have them at 18. The Baltimore Orioles. I know a few Orioles fans. They're great fans. Great city, great ballpark. I've been to Camden Yards, one of my favorite ballparks in the country. Barbecue, Boog Powell's barbecue, awesome. So, that being said, the Orioles have a lot of question marks heading into 2017. Mark Trumbo is a free agent, a guy that hit 47 home runs for them last season. I don't anticipate that he'll be back. I think he's going to get a huge contract from a team that desperately needs power. And the fact that the Orioles' rotation has been kind of suspect. There's been injuries. Kevin Gausman, Dylan Bundy needs to take that next step. Whether he can or not is a question mark. Number 16, the Detroit Tigers. Front office members have said that the Detroit Tigers are not going to look the same next year. I anticipate some shifting of players, veteran players, maybe front-loaded contracts like Justin Upton's will be restructured. Who knows? But I have the Tigers right on the bubble at 16. Number 15 for the New Yorkers out there, the New York Yankees, led by a young core, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez was arguably the best player in baseball the months of September and August, August and September, the last 2 months of the season. The 2015 World Series champion Kansas City Royals took a back seat. I expect them to kind of not find their footing, but in a way not to the tune that they were finding their footing in 2015. I think the Indians are the team of that division still. If that is not a preview for what's next in the top 10, I don't know what is. Kansas City Royals at 14. Seattle Mariners at 13, the oldest lineup in the American League. Robinson Cano looked better this past season. Felix Hernandez is not necessarily what he once was. Taijuan Walker is a guy that's a decent pitcher. Hisashi Iwakuma's 36 years old. So they might need to do some shifting once again, changing pieces and parts of their team in order to rebuild. The New York Mets at 12. The New York Mets are led by the stacked young rotation: Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey, Zach Wheeler, Steve Matz. 4 young guns in the rotation. The biggest question mark is whether they bring back the number 1 free agent in my eyes, Yoenis Cespedes, the fireballing, hell of an arm outfielder and a hell of a hitter. The key cog in the New York Mets lineup, in my opinion, is the number 1 free agent in 2017. Whether he comes back to the Mets or not remains to be seen, so that's why I have them at 12. The St. Louis Cardinals just extended manager Mike Matheny. I expect them to still be one of the more durable teams in baseball. Now we break into the top 10 in the last 5 minutes. The Texas Rangers at 10. Really disappointing playoff sweep by the Toronto Blue Jays that sent the Texas Rangers home. A healthy Yu Darvish for the majority of the season. I think that's going to pay big dividends for the Texas Rangers. I have them at 10. Number 9, the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates had a down season, but I think they will bounce back. They're my bounce-back team in Major League Baseball next year. Andrew McCutchen had a down year. It will not happen again. Garrett Cole is a star pitcher, and I think the Pittsburgh Pirates will be in the top 10. The Toronto Blue Jays, as I mentioned earlier, swept the Texas Rangers out of the playoffs. and the Blue Jays were then swept by the Cleveland Indians. Huge question marks remain. Jose Bautista is a free agent. Edwin Encarnacion is a free agent. But the rotation is young. Aaron Sanchez, a star pitcher last year, led the American League in ERA. And I know that they will be able to bring back one of those guys. I do have questions about Troy Tulowitzki's age and durability, but I still have them ranked 8th in Major League Baseball. The Houston Astros, I have them ranked 7th. They started April. They finished the month of April last year at 7-27. That proved to be a bit of a disaster for them. As the season wore on, that turned out to be or 7-17. It turned out to be a bad stretch for them. That caught up to them as the season went on when they were trying to make that wild card push. At 6th, the Washington Nationals, led by Bryce Harper, Max Scherzer, and Steven Strasburg. Biggest question is the health of Steven Strasburg. If he can stay healthy, combined with Max Scherzer and Gio Gonzalez, Bryce Harper, I like the Nationals' chances next season. Number 5, the Los Angeles Dodgers, led by the best pitcher in Major League Baseball for the regular season, that is, Clayton Kershaw. He proved that he was a playoff pitcher as well. It just didn't add up for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Too many injuries, too many moving parts that late in the season and in the postseason provided to be the Achilles heel to the LA Dodgers during the postseason. But I expect them to be one of the best teams in baseball again. I expect them to be the 5th best team in baseball next year. Number 4, the San Francisco Giants, led by Madison Bumgarner. Obviously, it's Madison Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto, Jeff Samardzija. Their rotation is stacked. Their pitching is always top-notch. Hunter Pence is always good for 25 home runs, 90 runs, 90 RBIs, maybe 20 bags at least. I'm really a big fan of Hunter Pence, what he can bring to the table. Obviously, they are well managed. Bruce Bochy's a great manager, and I have them at number 4. I do not anticipate, as long as they have Madison Bumgarner, I think the Giants will be a force to be reckoned with. Number 3, the Boston Red Sox, my team, my favorite team, my team that I hope to God gets back in the playoffs without Big Papi. That's the biggest question mark. Who will they replace Big Papi with at the DH position? Could be Hanley Ramirez, could be Pablo Sandoval if he decides to lose some weight. It could be Edwin Encarnacion, who's a free agent heading into free agency from Toronto. He was a Boston Red Sox killer in divisional play. That could be a guy that they try to swing over to the city of Boston from Toronto, taking a divisional rival power hitter, and he's a great third baseman as well. The Red Sox have young guns, obviously young hitting power with Andrew Benintendi, Yohan Moncada, the top 2 prospects. I expect them to be mainstays in the Boston Red Sox lineup. Betts, Bogarts, the future is bright, but the loss of David Ortiz really does hurt them. Number 2, the Cleveland Indians. The Indians are keeping the majority of their players heading in to the 2017 season. The one main question mark is Mike Napoli, who really had a fantastic season for the Cleveland Indians, one of the best seasons of his career as a Cleveland Indian last season, which is now last season as of today. The Indians are going to be keeping Andrew Miller. They signed him to a 5-year extension. Obviously, had they had Danny Salazar, had they had Carlos Carrasco, this series would have been very different. And number 1, the Chicago Cubs, the 2016 World Series champions. I think they're the best team in baseball heading into 2017 as well. And the Chicago Cubs have too much talent to look past. Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, the rotation, Lester, Arrieta, all those mainstay young core pieces are staying on the Chicago Cubs for many years. So we could see a dynasty. The Cubs, I believe, have very real expectations of going back-to-back, and I think that they can do it. There you have it, guys. The Chicago Cubs are the number 1 team on my 2007 power rankings. Young talent is the key feature in the top 5. The Cubs, Red Sox, Indians, Giants, Dodgers, those are the top 5 teams heading in to 2017. Take care, guys, and thank you for listening to the Thomas Take.